Hello, hello. It is Tuesday. So that means what today is? Let's talk with Carrie Jemii. And I am super excited to be here today, as I always say. But today's show is so special to me because I have some of my favorite Black women authors on the show today. So we're going to do things a little different. I'm actually going to have a one-on-one with each one of them separately. I might open it up for questions or whatnot, but I definitely just want to highlight them in their genre and their books. And so to kick it off today, we're going to start with Asha. She is coming to us from Chicago. So let's go ahead and bring her in. Hi, Asha. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. It is a pleasure to have you on the show. We went to high school together, and then we connected our paths because of our passions, helping out young women. And you have a beautiful organization. So just tell us a little bit about you and your organization, and then we'll get to your books.
A little bit about me. I am a wife and a mom of 3 girls. So I started a program called the Chrysalis Program. It teaches leadership, life skills, and self-confidence to African-American girls aged 5 to 18. So we've been doing that for about 5 years, and they all originated from a book series called The Dark Brown Girl that I wrote 5 years ago.
Wow.
Here to talk about.
Okay, awesome. So that book is published too. It's called The Dark Brown Girl.
That's the whole series. That's all of them together. So
all of them together. Okay.
Under this window, yeah.
Okay, show us your books. Let's start with your first publication. How many do you have all together to date?
I have 5, but I have 4 with me. So the first one was a book of affirmations. So this book was just encouraging words to Black girls because I have a daughter. She's like darker skinned, and when she came out, I had like a lot of like nasty comments from people. Even though she was a beautiful baby, they were saying like, "Oh, she's so dark," and I was just like,
to the mother. Wow.
Why? I mean, like people close to me, and so. They felt like that was like an okay thing to say. And so because of that, I wanted to make sure her confidence was intact before she even had a chance to face the world and for them to tell her something different. So my whole life's work has come from making sure that my girls are confident and that they know how beautiful they are and how intelligent they are, and that their skin is part of why they're beautiful and they're not beautiful in spite of it. Yeah.
No, that's pivotal. And that's why we connected, because the affirmation piece is everything, especially when you are what people consider not the social norm for beauty or things like that. That's okay. It's okay. So you have to kind of, build yourself up, because you are always going to be going against people trying to tear you down. And so I think that's very important that you created a book like that, so that your daughters and young girls behind them and us can have something like that to reflect to. So that's awesome. What's your second publication?
The second one was My Hair is Magic. That's this one. And it's all about like hair struggles, but like flipping it and changing the narrative to something more positive. So instead of saying, "Oh, yeah, my hair is nappy and it's so hard to comb through," I got real coarse 4C hair, and so do my daughters. And so a lot of times I'd be a beautician and they'd be like, "Ugh, like this is so hard to comb through." And it all became like a really heavy negative thing. And so I wanted to turn that around for girls so they can think about like, okay, yeah, I have tight curls. It makes my hair different and it's strong and like in some ways even more special than like regular ordinary hair. So I think it's a good idea. Yeah, to just encourage them to love what they have instead of looking at other kids and saying, why can't I have that type of hair? Your hair is as it is. So.
Exactly. No, that's true. And that's part of the things that, I think we have alike in our organizations, is always turning those negatives into positives, whether it's a feature or your hair, whatever it is, but turning those negative thoughts and comments that people make and make them positive for yourself. And that's going back to like what we all talk about, self-love and self-worth, and understanding that piece of it. Okay, well, and your third, because I know you got another one.
Is, your favorite, pretty for a dark girl. So it's a play on words because she is pretty and written for a dark girl. So it's just my love letter to dark sisters.
Awesome. And yes, and this is where I want to ham in. Now this way, this is my favorite because being of a darker skin complexion, people say that to you all the time, or you've had people that say, well, I've never dated a dark skinned girl, or this is different. Like, what that's supposed to mean? And I know people like patty cake this subject down a lot, but I feel like as a dark skinned sister, that's like how we feel when we feel like other races pat down us complaining about racism or black and white. It's the same thing. Within our culture, we have colorism. I think we all need to admit that it's a real thing.
Yes.
It's got to be real that in 2021, you still had to write a book like this because young girls are still dealing with it. And as you said, your daughters are dealing with it and they're getting teased, and people don't understand that this crushes a person's self-esteem. It crushes your self-worth before it can even grow. Go ahead.
Can I say too, not just girls, because my husband is Ghanaian American and he's American. So like coming up, like so much like scrutiny in school with like even dark skinned boys. So like I just want to make it clear that colorism is not just for girls.
True. Boys but sometimes boys get away with it because they're like, oh, I want me a tall, dark, and handsome.
Now, back then,
right? Yes, right. Back then it was the LaBarge days, and everybody had to have somebody with the curly hair and all that. Yeah, look at. I see one of our guests in the background. Yeah, so I mean, we all went through that era. I know, but I think what I love about what you're doing is highlighting that beauty comes in all shades, all forms, and that's even your hair from your head to your toes. Everything about you is beautiful, and if someone that really wants to be around you is going to appreciate you for those differences and love them. And really, it shouldn't even be treated like a difference. I mean, we're just different colors. I mean, it's what it is.
Like everybody literally is different. So who gets to say this is beautiful and this is not? And who created that standard of beauty? And why are we still rolling with it as if it's our own?
Yes.
So like a quick one thing that I also wanted to say, what helped me with these books and like the positive reframing too is like going to Ghana with Charles, because like that standard of beauty is not there. So like everybody, we all beautiful. Like all of us are chocolate.
Yeah, I need to go over there. Okay,
girl, I'm just saying, like to be removed temporarily from like
feeling like you are the lowest totem pole. Yes.
Like you could just be in whoever you are. And it really helped me to like, because when I was little, I used to like light-skinned boys, you know, so it's okay for me to admit that that's how I felt until I grew up. Clearly I grew out of it because
which is okay. I'm not trying to be here to bash any other, complexion or anything like that. It's just to highlight that it truly is a war between our culture when it comes to different complexions and different things, and that we need to highlight that and for other people can accept it and be able to be okay. And the reason I say that is because when I opened up your book and the first page, you did like a little video on your social media, and it said, to every Black girl, especially the dark ones, because you are enough. And I started crying. Literally, I'm like, oh. And I didn't even know that I still had feelings from feeling like I wasn't enough. And that's what I'm trying to prevent. It's not that I'm trying to say that one is better than the other or anything harsh against anybody else. It's that we should all be treated fairly, because it can really do damage to people, because why should I feel like I'm not enough? Why should I feel like I have to do extra to compete with someone else? Why can't I just be beautiful because that's who I am? Right. And And that's why I created, I'm pretty too. I'm pretty too. Like, I ain't got to look like her and she ain't got to look like me. But you know what I'm saying? So, she got her numbers back in the day. I got my numbers too, So, it's just like we shouldn't have to compete and we should be uplifting each other as sisters. You know what I mean? And brothers, as you said. So,
yeah, I love that.
So what else has been going on with you? So we'll give one more minute in here. So what else? You got anything new coming up, or how is it going with your organization for young girls?
It's going really well. It's quite a transition. We are going from, doing everything in person where we're serving breakfast and lunch and having these STEM classes to doing everything virtually. So it's been a transition, but it's also been a blessing because it expands our reach further. The people who couldn't come in person, who live in Louisiana and Texas and Washington, can all get on our call.
Right.
So, and that part has been a super big blessing. And being able to have that one-on-one time with the girls in small groups instead of a big group and everybody's running around and we're trying to set up. And so it's been amazing. So I'm excited as for whatever God has for us as we move forward through this pandemic and out of it. We'll see where it goes.
Absolutely. Well, it's been a pleasure having you for this first half. I'm going to go ahead and go to one of our other authors real quick, and then we'll see you later on in the show where we got some more questions, and hopefully the audience got some questions about being a Black woman author or author in general. Okay, we'll open up for everybody. All right, see you soon.
Okay.
All right. And yes, Shaka, I'm loving this conversation. Yes. Purchasing my hair is beautiful, and my daughter on Amazon right now. Oh yes, that's good. Yes, go ahead and support her. I'm going to also provide more information at the end of the show where you guys can find these authors' publications. So stay tuned and you get all that good information. But right now, I'm going to bring up this young lady. Yes, her last name is Coleman, but we don't know if we're related yet. We met, but we didn't meet because we're family. We met through her process of becoming an author. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on Shalon, but we call her Shay. Hi, Shay. How are you?
I am well. How are you, cousin?
I'm right. We cousins somewhere down the line. I am great. So it's a pleasure again to have you on the show. I know you wrote many publications. So just like we did with Asha, I want you to go ahead and just talk about some of the publications that you have currently out.
Okay, so I am an author of 5 books. The very first one, I actually learned from that one because let me tell y'all, it's huge. Let me see how big it is.
Oh wow! Oh yeah, that's a big book.
800 pages.
Wow! You was trying to reduplicate the Bible.
No, this book, I had been having a dream about these characters for probably 6 years, and the dream was coming maybe twice a week, and I didn't understand. With my faith in God, I really thought that he was letting me know that something was going to happen in the future to me. I didn't know that these stories were for me to write a book. I think one Sunday after church, the service was about a better place. And I was like, God, it has to be a better place for me. What is it? And then I said, you know what? Let me write a book. And all of the characters that I have been dreaming about for 6 years.
Wow.
In this book. So this is my very first book and my favorite. The stories are amazing. The characters are real. I lost a lot of friends behind it because they thought that I was talking about their situations because it's so relatable. But it doesn't end there.
A fine line there. Yeah, it's a fine line there. My friend was trying to include me in her book, and I was like, no, ma'am, no.
Yeah, I twisted the stories. It wasn't necessarily about them. It was just about situations that people have every day.
Right.
And the book was so good, even though it was 800 pages, people was asking about the characters. They wanted me to tell them more about the characters after the book was over. So I did a part 2.
Wow.
This one is a little smaller, of course. This is lessons learned.
Wow.
And this is up with some of the characters and what happened after the first book and where they are now. So these are the only two books that I have as sequels. And then all of my books were from dreams.
Oh
that
wow.
And I just put it down on paper and it worked. I
That's
just would have dreams.
amazing. You are the first author I heard say that. I'm serious.
Yeah.
I've never. Yeah, that's amazing. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Now I want to read the books. I'm like, but looking at, I'm like, whoa. But let's go say, do you have them on audiobook yet, or is it all?
I don't. But I was thinking about that because it would be good to just put on the car while you're driving and listen to it.
Right.
I did do research and try to find out how to do it because my first book has a total of maybe 13 or 14 characters. I was told that it'll probably be better if I can get different voices to play the characters, and that actually costs more money than I have, and then studio time to record it. So I did listen to it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to get to, I know you have some other books. If you want to name them off really quick, because I want to get to the book that you wrote last.
Okay, so the second to third book, this one is called As Faith Would Have It. This is about another dream, about a situation that I was in, and I kind of twisted it up to make it a story. It's a perfect love story. I love this. It's one of my favorite love story books. And then my next to last book is The Post Office Trips. And this is really small, as you can see. I think it's only like 100 something pages. But I was just standing in the post office one time and I started with small stories on this. And I would post it on Facebook about just little small stories. But my Facebook friends and fans got so entangled, they were texting me and calling me like, "Where's the next trip?" And I was like, "Hey, what?" It was just supposed to be a short story. So I actually took a year. I did like maybe 7 or 8 trips, and then I just decided to make it a book. It wasn't supposed to be a book, but it turned out to be pretty good. So yeah, it's this Post Office Trips.
Okay. So the last book,
final book.
Right. So the last book is called Ties and Knots. And just to let you guys know, I end up helping her publish this book and formatting it for her. And when I was supposed to be formatted, but I couldn't stop reading. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, I was like, it took me forever to format it because I couldn't stop reading this book. I mean, this book was like, I don't even want to say, same with that book with the 50 Shades of Grey. I don't even want to go as far as 50 Shades of Grey, but it does touch the line a couple of times. But this book was amazing. And I just want to talk about where this story came from, because I know many people do highlight, scenarios of their life and they kind of make it more fictional. But where did this book come from?
This book is more personal. So all of my books are my daughters, but this one is my son. It's different. It reads different. It felt different writing it because it's more about me. I was in a relationship that I wasn't supposed to be in for a very long time. And I was in bondage. And I thought that I was in love, but I was in confusion. And I felt like writing this book was my deliverance and my healing. So I had to get it out. I had to tell the story so that I can get over it and heal from it. So I took a lot of diary entries and I put it down on paper and made it work. And the fact that once it was published, the deliverance that I got from it, like the healing that I got from it, was amazing. And I didn't realize that I actually had to write it down and tell my story to feel better about the situation.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, in that book, I mean, I felt it. Like I literally felt like I was in the book, in the story with you. Like, oh my goodness! Like when you're watching one of those Power or something on TV, you got to sit there, watch the whole season right straight. That's how I felt. Like this is a page turner book. So you did a great job. I mean, and I think books that have a little real life to it seem to be a very good book, because you can relate to it too because you've been through it. It's not so non-fictional that you is it fictional? No, so fictional that you're like, okay, what is he talking about? But it has some real key parts that I was like, yes, that is so true. So great job on that.
Thank you.
I just want to highlight your books and just talk about how books come together. So through this particular interview, we got the nuggets of, books can come through dreams, right? And how to capture your dreams because it can become a publication. Also, that it can be a way of deliverance and healing for you. So writing books can be an avenue for healing yourself from past wounds or current situations. So I appreciate that. And you sharing that nuggets with our audience today.
Thank you.
No, thank you. So we're going to go ahead and shift a little bit, and we're going to bring up our next author. So I'm going to go ahead and see you later, Shay. We'll be back. Shay's going to come back. We're going to shift over to another author that I did help also with her publication. And when I tell you this is hilarious. So I wanted to start, with some deep stuff. We started with Asha, and we talked about how colorism is, and how her books were birthed from her kids and her wounds and her husband's wounds. And then we talked about deliverance. So now I want to twist it up a little bit and show you how humor could be everything for your books too. So let me welcome my next guest, Miss Anniece Lashley.
I'm good. How are you, best friend?
I'm good, best friend. So I am so excited to have you here today to talk about your journey as an author. So just like we just did with the previous Black women authors, how many publications do you have and what are they?
Now I have 2. I just, 6 months finished the last one.
Mm-hmm.
I have, we're going to start with the original, Her Shenanigans.
Her Shenanigans.
There was no volume. Somebody told me to start with volumes, but I did not listen because I
That's okay.
And then because of the pandemic, we have Her Shenanigans Volume 2. Both can be purchased on Amazon.
Yay, Amazon. They can also purchase too by going to your IG page, because that's what I'm gonna pull up later. Is that okay? If they go to your IG, okay, and DM you, okay. So I know you want all your profits. Sometimes Amazon take a little bit too much, as we all know as authors. Yeah. But okay, so what made you come up with these books? I do want you to bring out, just let people hear what Her Shenanigans sound like. You can tell them where it came from, but I want them to hear this book. This is everything.
Foolish. Honestly, I started doing these random thoughts on Facebook, and we were able to trace where the random thoughts even came from. My grandmother had, which is one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, had gotten, she got cancer and she was extremely sick. And so I started doing these random thoughts as a way to cope with her illness. The problem is my random thoughts are things that everybody probably think nobody probably will ever say out loud. And I started saying them out loud. So y'all think I'm being
like a baby cry.
I'm being so serious. I'm not even being funny, I'm being serious. And it's just a lot of my things I really do think and say. I probably say them to my closest friends because they really know how foolish I am. But that's how
give me a little samples from the first one, because the second one, I want to say the difference was you used the second one to heal through laughter. Like the first one, like you said, were random, like, okay, you laughing through the whole cover, like this girl is a whole food. Like her shirt say, instead of say a whole food, to say a whole food. Yes. That book was all that. Had me laughing. But the second one, you were like kind of like talking real talk, like things we were dealing with this pandemic and kind of healing people. Because I think, as you've noted in your book, I think a lot of us during this pandemic got to know who we really were. And because we had to spend a lot of time with ourselves and, close loved ones because they was in the same household. So we learned a lot. And that book really reflects that. But so give us a little bit of both. I want some pieces out of both. You can start with volume 1.
Okay. Lord, I'm good. Okay.
You okay, girl?
I am over the "this is why I don't go to church" tale. Truth be told, you don't go to church because you don't want to. If that's it, just stand on it, because the world is full of cheaters, backstabbers, liars, etc. So newsflash, they're going to be at church too. I mean, we did learn that the church is people that meet in the building.
That's a perfect one for dealing with Kurt Franklin right now. Everybody want to use Kurt Franklin as a scapegoat. That's why I don't go to church. No, that ain't why you go to church.
That's why you don't go to church. I'm nobody's mama. I understand, Kirk, okay? Folks that determine other folks' blackness are obnoxious. Who made you the "How Black Are You" reader? Please have several seats. It's overly obnoxious when coworkers ask where another coworker is. So it's over 6,000 people on this campus, and I'm supposed to know? Oh, okay. Okay, so I can do this because I don't care. Raise your hand if you are surprised that Kevin Hart cheated on his wife. I'm seriously confused as to why anyone would be shocked that a cheater cheated. He is merely doing what he knows.
All right. These are random thoughts, but it's what people are thinking. Absolutely. Okay. You want to move to volume 2?
Volume 2 is my one. So the difference between volume 1 and volume 2 is I actually took time to make chapters, right? Yeah, I made chapters. Mm-hmm. So my favorite chapter is church, folks. I'm probably going to get kicked out of church for this.
Don't get kicked out the church.
It's okay. Somebody else will have me. A bad joke. Y'all for real gonna miss Heaven acting a fool about some green beans and fried chicken. Sister, it's not that serious. I know church is a hospital of sorts, but some of y'all can't get well because you're still lying about being sick. Y'all stay putting them signs up, talk about no eating in the sanctuary, but then hold service so long people need a snack before they go into a coma. Pick your battle. The loudest church member is always the biggest fool. Read that twice.
You are so silly.
Every church has a messy ass member. Every church.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, I can say I haven't experienced church hurt per se. Now, there are some members that I won't be messed up if I don't ever see again.
You are so silly. It was another chapter in there. Read some of your chapters real quick. I want to see something.
She's back. Can't just be me. Church folks, I be knowing. Raising Dorothy, aka my mama. Day turned into night. Friends turned into family. The Parent Trap. Chronicles of This Black Mama. Whole-tastic. Rated R.
Get one from. It was one. It was. I mean, I was trying to have time to do this, but it was so good ones and the friend ones for sure. You were highlighting friendships and knowing you got good friends around you and things like that. But and you can find it later because I'm not gonna hold everybody as we switching through pages and stuff. Pages looking for something. But as y'all can see, this book is hilarious. Okay, she really is giving out her random thoughts. And we just gave y'all a few of it. I'm trying to tell you, I love comedy. So if you love comedy, this is the book to get. She found a blue ocean with this, how to heal people through comedy, especially now. I think that's what, we did back in the day with culture. Like we listened to the Eddie Murphys and Richard Pryors and that's what we did as a people to get away from our pain. We laughed. And so if you want to get away from the COVID-19 pain, you ain't got your stimulus check pain. Right. This is the book to get. So at this time, I'm gonna bring all our guests back. Asha and y'all back. How you guys doing? Thank you guys for waiting behind stage. So what I want to do for this part of the segment, and just to let the audience know, if you guys have questions about how to become an author or the steps, we're going to go over some of that. But if you got some questions that we don't answer, please, by all means, jump in, okay? So my first question I want to ask everyone is, how do you get started? Because a lot of people contact me and they're like, oh, I got a book in my spirit. Oh, I want to write a book about my life. How did you guys get started? get started? We can start with Anniece.
I was at home minding my own business now. Okay. What matters is I was not trying to be an author. One of Carrie's clients works with me, and she was like, "Fool, you need to write a book." And I was like, "Girl, I got time for that. Anniece is somebody's mama. I work full time. I go to school full time. I just did not have time to put anything else on my plate." She was like, "No, the world needs this. I'm going to." She put together a timetable. She contacted Carrie on her own, and they just bullied me into this.
And it came out great. See, sometimes you need that extra push from somebody around you to tell you you got something good inside of you. So awesome. Asha?
I just feel like the Holy Spirit gave it to me, to be honest. I just I always get downloads at night. So like if I'm laying down, God will just say, "This is what I want you to write," and I just write it. And that's it. I can't even explain how else to say that. That's how it's for me.
So let me ask you a follow-up question. So once the Holy Spirit has gave you what he wants you to write, do you write this down in a notepad? Are you putting it in your phone? What are your in your phone? Okay.
There, my husband's asleep. I'm just doing like this, typing the whole thing, like literally the entire book, and sitting. And then like the next day, I'll read it and see if this makes sense too.
Right.
And like it did. That's what happened with all of the books.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. What about you, Shay?
Well, I never thought that I was going to be an author either. That wasn't in my plan. I knew that I was a very good storyteller, but I used to love reading books. I loved to pick up a book and turn the pages and read it and touch it. And I was in the laundromat one time, and I was reading, I think it was Toni Morrison. It was a series that I was reading. And I remember when I was done with it, I closed it and I said, I could do this. I could do this. But and at that time I was still having those dreams, but I didn't understand that that's what it was. So then it started to really manifest in my spirit, and I said, well, let me see if I can put these dreams down on paper, and that's how it happened.
Oh wow!
So I didn't go to school. I'm the worst in the world. So at first I was like, yeah, no, that's not for me.
Right.
Thank God for editors. But yeah, it was just something that God told me was my purpose, and it was at 30 years old when I found out. So
wow. So when you say editor, shout out to Tiffany Jasper, who is one of our main editors that I work with. So shout out to her. I did want to say, you guys mentioned I wrote a book as well. It's not as traditional book as far as a novel, but it's like a workbook. It has some little book aspects. But one thing that I did to just give the audience some more nuggets is that I wrote an outline. So I knew what I wanted to talk about. Like, okay, I want to talk about self-worth. I want to talk about being bullied, whatever. And so what you can do is you can write down the outline of what you want to talk about. And then as in my phone too, as time go on, you write into me. You be like, okay, what I want to say about bullying. Okay. And you can skip around. What I want to say about this. And then to Asha's point, you can go back and then now you can organize the chapters so that it can flow and be a great book, a good read. So that's another nugget that I will put out there for that question. So we had a question from the audience. Have you or will you write any children's books? I think we already got a children's author on here, and she did. And will any of you guys think about, I guess, making your books into films? I don't know. Maybe more Shay, since you have your books are more like they could be a screenplay or something like a Tyler Perry. You could start off there with some stage plays. So have you thought about that?
I actually have, and I reached out to someone to see where to start, and I kind of got bad news with the first one because it was so big. They were saying that screenplays need to be smaller, and I would have to chop up a lot of things and take out a lot of things, and that kind of discouraged me. But that was like the main goal of writing all of my books. I would love to see them on big screen. I would love it. I even have the actors that I would play my characters.
That's right.
I love that. So,
well, girl, put that on a vision board and call it out. Let's manifest itself because
I wish I could show you my vision board because I have Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey, and I have meet them like right in the middle of my vision board. I wish I could show it to you, but yeah,
right,
definitely.
And right now,
right,
and right now, Netflix is really giving a lot of people opportunities. So even if you can do a small film, and get some people to act it out, you never know, and then somebody else bigger pick it up or whatever the case may be. So, so definitely I don't even know what to say. Definitely agree with you on that. So my next question is, a lot of questions that people ask me is, why do you self-publish versus traditional publishing? So I want you guys to just tell me why you decided to self-publish versus going through traditional publishing. This time we'll start with Asha.
Okay, great. So when I was going to do traditional publishing, and it was a company that shopped my book, and it was like a long process of approvals, and they got through the first approval and the second and the third, and then at the fourth they decided no, because they said the market wasn't wide enough, and this was before people started caring about Black girls and Black kids, and like they were like the niche isn't wide enough. Your market isn't going to be profitable.
It's too niche.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was too like specific because it was for dark brown girls. They were like, you can't do anything with it. And so they sent it back to me. I was just very disappointed and discouraged, and I just felt like, well, maybe it's not meant to me. Maybe this wasn't what God wanted me to do. But then, like, I don't even know. Something happened, and I just was like, well, gosh, if this is meant to be, show me how to do it. And then he led me to like just some obscure book publishing, self-publishing site called Book Patch. Not even like like shouting them out or anything. There's nothing like special about them, but it's just all you had to do was upload your book, and you didn't have to worry about like, how am I going to print it? And I know how to market my.
Right.
I knew how to edit myself, so I didn't need them for that part. I really just needed to sell the book for them to print it and to ship it, and that's it. And so that was like wildly successful for me. And then even more so lately, I redid the books for Amazon because I just didn't feel confident in the first set of books that I wrote. I felt like it reached who it was supposed to reach, and once that period was over, I was kind of ashamed of like the illustrations. I was just like, I could have done that. Like, I've grown in those 5 years so much. So I updated the words, I updated the images, and now.
And that's a good point. That's a good point to mention. People don't know that you can do that you can, revisit your books. People do that all the time, and they take it off the, Amazon or wherever it's self-published at and republish it again. And you can always do that. That's the beauty about self-publishing too, because you can't do that with traditional publishing. You can read your book and years later, which I've had this happen to a friend, and somebody's like, it's a mistake in your book. If you publish traditional publishing, hey, that mistake gonna be in your book. That's just it. You can't go back and revisit that. We'll have you answer the question too, Shay. What made you go self-publishing versus traditional?
Like Asha, I actually started off with a company to publish my book, but I didn't find out until after the book was published, and I got my copies. I had decided to have a book signing, a book review, and I had like over 100 copies, and I was looking through it, and what happened was the company that was publishing my book, who will remain nameless, was Indian based, so they didn't understand my assignment. So, and I didn't, because I was using them, and I didn't understand that I shouldn't trust them, that I should have read the book before I had them send me 100 copies. I was looking at the words like, what are they doing? This is crazy. And because I signed the contract saying that it was okay before I even really reviewed it and looked at it, I had published, and they were all the grammar was off, the spelling was off. It was horrible. So I actually had them pull it. And then I met a young lady that was working as a self-publisher. So she decided to publish my books for me. And then she got overwhelmed and decided that she didn't want to do it anymore and gave me access and taught me how to do it.
Oh, okay.
So with that, after she quit that business, I learned how to self-publish, and I took all of my books down and republished them by myself.
Then how did you find me? Because I did your last one. Did you just was like, you tired of doing it?
So I found you through Tiffany because I was using different people to do the cover, and I had such bad experiences with the last 3 people. I just prayed to God for another person, and then we got connected, and you did an amazing job with my cover. Amazing job with my cover. So yeah, it just kind of worked out like that. I was just
that was one of my favorite covers. I had bad experience. Yeah, that was one of my favorite covers. It was pulling teeth with you because she was like, "No, I want it to be like this," and I'm like, "Girl." I'm glad we're talking about this. People don't understand. Your covers, everyone sells your book. So I don't care if you got $1 million nugget in that book. If your cover is not looking like something, people are going to be like, okay, just like you would at a grocery store or anywhere else. If you see something that's not catching your attention, you may not read it. And like she said, you'd be having some amazing stories in it, but if you're not attracted to the cover, you may overlook it. So yes, if you need book covers, definitely holler at your girl. I got your back. So Anniece, what made you do self-publishing over traditional?
The whole, I didn't know how this thing was going to go. That's honest. And honestly, I was like, no, I kept telling you, nobody wants to read this. Nobody wants to read this. But that was determined to lie. So that just the not belief that anyone wanted to read it.
Right.
Like, style, I wish somebody would pick these books up, honey. No.
Now, right. See, and that's the thing, and they still can, even though you're self-published, a publisher can pick up your book from being in a self-published realm or industry or whatever you want to call it. So, but yes, you were one of those authors too that just didn't think that nobody's gonna read it. And I'm like, girl, this book is everything. I'm over here dying laughing. And like somebody just said, yes, we do want to read your books.
Girl, that's my friend. I'll be paying her to say that stuff.
But yes, that is like really, really good to know is that you really got it out there because, it's blessing people. So we don't want nobody to hold back blessings. So, but yeah, those are really some of my only questions that I had. We do have some questions from the audience. One good question here, Janelle put out there is, what has been your struggles in being a Black female artist, author, and what has been some of your biggest adversity? So we'll start with you, Shay, this time.
I think the struggles that I'm having is just getting my name out there. I have a lot of friends and a lot of family that support me. And I'm noticing that I have the same support. Like every time I write a book, the same people come and buy the books. So I'm selling out, but the struggle is to get my name out there and let somebody else read it that don't know me. So I actually went to the point where if I go out of town, I leave my book signed in a hotel. Or if I'm on the bus, I'd be like, if somebody reads it, and I have a book, I'm like, you know what, I'm an author, read this. I just want to get my name out there. So I think that's one of the biggest struggles is just being known. Because right now, everybody in my family know me, all of my friends know me, but it don't seem like that's enough. I mean, I sell out a book, but I would just love to have my name known. So that's like one of my biggest struggles.
Well, you have talk to me after the show and I'll tell you a little secret. I'm not giving the secret for free. So you call me after the show, and I'll talk to your ways on monetizing that a little better. So, go ahead, Anniece. What you say was your biggest struggle?
Honestly, my biggest struggle is people telling me or trying to censor me. Saying I shouldn't say that, or you're not supposed to think like that. I don't know if it's because I'm a woman, I'm a Black woman, or just you're not supposed to. And if I think it's coming out. So
right, they coming at the wrong personality for that one. Good.
And that's the thing. Like, I do believe that the censorship, like, you can't censor me. It's coming up and out. But I know that people will have tried to stifle me. Like, somebody told me one day, like, nobody pays you for your opinions. And I was like, actually, you do. If you have purchased my books, you actually pay me for my opinions. But it's the censorship. And I really feel like it's because I'm a woman. Because if a man said the things that I say, nobody would care.
Yeah. Right. And I agree with you. Two things. One, we are paying you for your opinions, but it's good opinion. I mean, it's really good stuff. It's really good content. Like what you're saying, a lot of, you said some funny stuff tonight, but a lot of it does have substance to it. So, I mean, I would just totally disagree with that point altogether. As a person that's read your book, right. And then the other thing
my whole life.
And to your second point, it's always been harder for female comedians. I mean, that's to me is that your next avenue is because you're super funny. So your next avenue to me would be the stage. And so, and somebody else just said validity is theirs. True. So I would just say that, but it's always been harder for, and that's why, what's her name? That did Girls Trip.
Tiffany Haddish.
Yes. Right. When she made her own show, She All That or whatever on Netflix to highlight more female comedians, because as she knows, it's a struggle to get into that space. So that is a true adversity though. Really it is. Asha?
For me, it's similar with censorship, but like just being called like divisive and saying like, because my program, my books are tailored to Black girls. And so I've had people of other races and the same race say like, well, why can't you just include other girls? And what about Hispanic girls? And what about these girls? And what about boys? And so I'm trying to change what my niche is into like what they feel it should be. But I'm not called to everybody. I'm called to demographic. And so I got it. Tells me to do, and every time I do try to like, because by nature I'm a people pleaser, so like I tried to like step out and like it's just not, I cannot do it. And so I feel like I have to stick with what I'm called to do and move forward in that, and the people who don't like it, it's just not for them.
That's right.
That's I saw a t-shirt that said, I'm not for everybody.
No.
That's true. And you do have an audience. That's what I'm saying. Like, you have an audience. It's millions of people who are of darker hues or not. But it's not even just for that audience. It's for people to be aware of what they're doing to people of that complexion, so they can be aware. It's more of awareness too, because some people don't even understand. Like, pretty for a dark skinned girl, what does that mean? Read the book. You understand what it means.
Oh, that was like that. I'm creating issue where there isn't one. That's what I ran into, and she was just like, "Why are you like creating this issue?" And I'm like, "I'm not. It's there. I'm not creating the issue. It's a real issue.
It's real. It's real.
But that doesn't mean it's not real.
Exactly. It's real. I mean, I thought it just stopped when I was in high school. I went to college and had people telling me, oh, you should pledge Delta, or you should pledge this because you this complexion, and oh, you wear your hair short. Why you wear your hair short and you dark skin? Like, I'm like, what? I didn't know I had to have a certain look to me. You know what I mean? Or they felt like, guys only approached you because they thought that you just because you were sexy. Like they didn't want to take you and make you a trophy, but they would take you home. And it was just like, nah, that's not how we roll over here. But so people don't understand, it's a whole journey, okay? So
it's been a thing forever since they brought us over here. So yeah,
exactly. Yep. So we had another question out there, and who is your biggest inspiration as an author? And since we already on you, Asha, you can go ahead and answer that.
My biggest inspiration as an author, gosh, so many people. I would have to say my family, I guess.
Okay.
It's not like one particular person, but like technically it was my daughters who inspired me to write, specifically Ava, my oldest daughter. And still, like, I'm working with her confidence. Even still, like, I've built an entire nonprofit around it, and it was still like kids in her class didn't play with her because she was darker. Like, and there was like the teacher told me, like, I don't see any other reason. And so I'm glad that I did what I did, and that I continue to build her confidence and move her towards greatness, and like being immune to like almost to a fault what other people think. Like, she literally does not care about what people think of her at all. And
that's perfect. I was going to say that's something that I want to try to incorporate when I release I'm Pretty Too, is I noticed that a lot of time parents, we tell our kids, oh, you so cute, oh, you so this, but we don't have the kids really say it for themselves, because that is the first self-defining yourself. So therefore, when someone else comes against you, it's not like, well, my mommy said I'm cute. It's like, well, I think I'm cute. So, it's kind of,
who are you? I'm not.
Right, exactly. What your opinion should not define me, as Anniece was saying. Like, your opinions don't define what I do or what I think is beautiful. It's me, my opinion. So that's good. Anniece, I know you're gonna say, I already know who you're gonna say was your inspiration, but go ahead, let the notice audience know.
No, honestly,
I thought you were gonna say your grandmother.
No, girl, my
grandmother. Oh, okay.
Now, look, I was trying to cope, but my granny would not be happy with the stuff I be saying.
Okay.
Honey, her lips will be pinched. Like, what are you doing, girl? Don't let people know you crazy. I don't know. That's kind of loaded. Now, I don't know. Probably my son though, because where I am, this big personality, he is quiet, reserved, and so he'll say, so we'll have the crazy conversation like my books, but other people will never know he say the stuff that he said.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, Shay.
My biggest inspiration will probably be my mother. She passed in 2001, but she really taught me how to be a woman. Like, she taught me everything that I know, and some things that I didn't know I needed, that I picked up along the way. I was like, wow, she did say that. She did tell me that. I think she's the biggest inspiration. An author that inspired me, though, was Zane. And I feel like her books, she didn't care what she said, how she said it, why she said it. Right. And it gave me inspiration to be me in my books. So I was like, okay, there's somebody else that did this,
right,
and said this and wrote this, so it's okay. So because my books are teetering Zane, like they
are
weird. They cannot be sold in a gospel bookstore at all.
They cannot. I mean, literally, one scene I was like, oh, wait a minute. I got to put this book down, because I'm at home by myself.
Yeah.
So that book is good.
But reading her books let me know that I can do it. So I was like, man, okay, let me be myself. And, let me be visual. Let me be very strategic with my words. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I would say I was inspired too to be an author, and I was inspired by my great friend and partner in business, Diamond McNulty, because he's a serial author and entrepreneur, but he has like at least 18 books or so. So he inspired me. He's like, why not? Because at first I was like, who gonna read my stuff? Who want to read my? And he was like, why not? So he made me, put value on me and say that what I'm saying is valuable. What I can do, like Asha said, you never know who life you're gonna change by saying this or doing this. So he inspired me to be an author, and I got another book in me that I'm trying to get out, but I don't think the story is over yet. So I'm just trying to wait till that final chapter hit. So
come on now.
So once that final chapter hit, then I'm gonna run on and get it published. But you guys have been great. It's been a pleasure having you guys here. I do want people to know how to purchase you guys' books. So to find Asha's books, and I'm saying it right, Asha, right?
Right.
Asha V and Ntim. Is it Ntim? Your
last name Ntim.
Okay, and you can go to her website. All her books are there. You guys, if you want to capture that, for Shay, all her books is at www.salonlcoleman.org. And as soon as you get there, Shalon, sorry. Shalon, you'll see all her books pop up. I'm just all messing up names. So y'all can mess up my name if y'all want to. Go ahead. I don't even People like, what's your middle name? Jemii. I'm like, it's Jemii, but I get it. So I'm sorry. And then for Anniece, her name is a little bit easier for me to say. I'm just playing, y'all. But you can find her on her IG channel at Her Shenanigans 1. And again, you can find her books also on Amazon because she is self-published and she went through me. And when you go through Carrie, your books go on Amazon. So you can definitely find all her publications there. But if you want to give her the full profit, go to her DM and she will hook you up with her books. Again, it's a pleasure to have you guys on the show. I'm here every Tuesday, same time, 7:30. I may be taking a break. I can't even get the word I want. A break in April, but I will be having next week. I will be having women Black educators on. Yeah, and your best friend will be on here, Dr. Sunita. Yes. So I look forward to that show, and then I have a special show at the end of this month that I'm not even going. I haven't publicized. It's a special show that I just pulled out a hat. So I'm looking forward to doing that. And like your friend just said here, congratulations to all you guys for being Black women authors, and continue getting your feelings out there, continue changing lives. And again, it's been an honor. You guys have a good night. And thank you, audience, for watching. Again, if y'all have any questions later, hit us up on our DMs, and I'm sure anyone can answer your questions. Have a good night.
Absolutely. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye-bye.